Stop wasting your energy. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop waiting for motivation. Every day you let habits run you instead of systems running your life, you fall further behind. The truth is simple. Success is not about talent, luck, or inspiration. It's about the small, silent actions you take consistently. Today, we will expose the hidden habits holding you back, destroy the mental blocks that keep you distracted, and build the exact systems that guarantee unstoppable focus and results. Listen closely. If you follow this, your life will change. If you don't, nothing changes. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Stop proving and start doing. Most people fail to produce results because they focus on the wrong target. They focus on proving themselves instead of producing work. They confuse approval with achievement. They wait for recognition instead of building momentum. This is the first trap, the first error that keeps you stagnant. Stop proving. Start doing. Say it aloud. Repeat it. Let it resonate. You do not need anyone's permission to begin. You do not need applause to continue. The moment you begin, the results will follow. The moment you stop proving, you free attention. The moment you start doing, you create leverage. That is the key. Proving is visible. Doing is silent. Proving depends on audience. Doing depends on consistency. Proving wastes energy on external judgment. Doing invests energy into progress. You have a choice. You can waste your time proving, or you can create. You can watch others measure your worth, or you can measure your work. You do not change your life by convincing people. You change your life by producing results. You don't change your life. You change what you repeat. Repeat that. Let it sink in. Look at the entrepreneurs who succeed. Not the ones with the loudest social media. Not the ones with the most commentary. The ones who succeed build quietly. Every day they produce. They iterate. They deliver. They track output. They improve systems. They do not stop for approval. They do not wait for permission. They do not allow comparison to guide their actions. You can model this. You can adopt the same framework. Stop proving. Start doing. Here is the structural difference. Proving is reactionary. Doing is proactive. Proving is emotional. Doing is procedural. Proving is inconsistent. Doing is repeatable. Systems are built on doing. Habits are built on doing. Excellence is the result of doing. Comparison, validation, approval. These are distractions disguised as priorities. You have a choice. You can follow them, or you can focus on production. That is the key. Step 1 is clarity. Identify what you are doing to prove yourself. Where are you seeking validation? Where are you measuring impact based on recognition rather than output? Write down. List every behavior that wastes energy on proving. This is your first structural adjustment. You do not change your life by changing the behaviors of others. You change your life by adjusting your own actions. That is the key. Step 2 is measurement. Doing is measurable. Proving is not. Output is concrete. Results are concrete. Time spent on social approval is invisible. Time spent on production is trackable. Set a system to measure what you produce daily. Quantify it. Track it. Repeat it. Measurement is feedback. Feedback is progress. You have a choice. You can track attention wasted on proving, or you can track output that compounds. That is the key. Step 3 is repetition. Doing requires repetition. You cannot produce once and expect mastery. You cannot deliver one product and expect transformation. You cannot act for a day and call it progress. Success compounds. Systems compound. Habits compound. Repeat small actions daily. Repeat, repeat, repeat. You do not need anyone to notice. You do not need anyone to approve. You do not need external validation. Repeat and build. That is the key. Let us consider an example. 2 entrepreneurs, same industry, same resources. One is consumed by social media. likes, shares, comments, recognition. The other produces quietly, writes code daily, designs products daily, tests systems daily. The first feels busy but achieves nothing. The second produces steadily and builds results that grow. The difference is simple. Stop proving. Start doing. Systems beat recognition. Results beat applause. That is the key. Step 4 is elimination. Remove proving behaviors from your schedule. Remove distractions that cater to validation. Remove comparisons. Remove commentary that does not create output. Simplify. Reduce. Focus. Every minute you spend proving is a minute you do not spend building. You have a choice. You could be busy proving, or you could be productive doing. That is the key. Step 5 is feedback from output, not opinion. Let your work speak. Track results, not reactions. Adjust your systems based on output. Do not adjust for approval. Do not adjust for criticism alone. Adjust for measurable improvement. That is the system. That is the discipline. That is the framework. Stop proving. Start doing. Repeat it daily. Build it like a machine. Systems are not negotiable. Repetition is not optional. Doing is mandatory. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 6 is internal alignment. Your identity must support action. Identity does not exist in comparison. Identity is created in execution. You're not a producer because others recognize you. You are a producer because you repeat productive actions. You're not a builder because someone says so. You are a builder because you act consistently. Align identity with doing. Let proving fade. Let action dominate. That is the key. Now, consider the compounding principle. Small actions repeated consistently will outperform grand gestures attempted sporadically. You do not need bursts of inspiration. You do not need approval. You do not need proof of talent. You need consistency. You need a system. You need repetition. You don't change your life. You change what you repeat. That is the rule. That is the principle. That is the process. Stop proving. Start doing. Track progress. Measure output. Repeat every day. Eliminate distractions. Align identity. Adjust systems. Focus on production, not recognition. Build silently. Improve methodically. Deliver reliably. This is how results compound. This is how mastery emerges. This is how life changes. You have a choice. That is the key. Chapter 1 ends here. You now understand the first principle. Your energy is finite. Proving consumes it. Doing invests it. Validation distracts. Production builds. Systems compound. Repetition solidifies. You do not change your life by proving yourself. You change your life by repeating productive actions. That is the foundation. The next chapter will reveal a hidden cost most never recognize. The cost of seeking approval silently every day. It will show how comparison steals your focus and attention before you even notice. And it will teach a system to reclaim that energy for productive use. Stop proving. Start doing. Prepare to reclaim control. Chapter 2, the silent cost of seeking validation. Most people do not realize how much energy they spend seeking approval. It is silent. It is invisible. It does not show up on calendars. It does not appear on reports. Yet it drains attention, confidence, and momentum. Every hour spent seeking validation is an hour stolen from your systemized habits. Every minute you defer to external judgment is a minute you do not use building skill, producing results, or strengthening focus. You have a choice. You can continue borrowing energy from others' opinions, or you can reclaim it for production. That is the key. Validation is debt. It is borrowed time. You borrow it by prioritizing the approval of others over your own execution. You borrow it by worrying whether someone will notice your work. You borrow it by measuring worth in recognition rather than output. And like any debt, it compounds. Every hour spent seeking approval increases the cost of future hours. It diminishes your ability to focus. It limits your capacity for deep work. It steals momentum silently. That is the principle. Observe your environment. Notice the professional who checks social media for likes before completing a project. Notice the employee who emails for reassurance before taking action. Notice the manager who postpones decisions until a consensus forms. They appear busy. They appear engaged. But their work falters. Deadlines slip. Opportunities vanish. Production suffers. Focus fractures. Validation is the silent thief of time and attention. You do not need their permission. You do not need their approval. You only need to act. That is the rule. Step 1 is recognition. Identify where you seek validation. Observe it without judgment. Write it down. Be specific. Is it social media? Is it peers? Is it managers? Is it family? Wherever it exists, mark it. That is your first structural adjustment. You cannot remove what you do not see. You cannot reclaim energy you cannot measure. Recognition is not for the purpose of approval. It is for awareness. Awareness allows adjustment. That is the system. That is the process. Step 2 is measurement. Validation is measurable. You can quantify lost hours. Track every instance when you defer to opinion rather than executing a task. Track every moment when you seek reassurance rather than taking action. Track every delay caused by waiting for recognition. Every hour spent seeking approval is an hour stolen from your productive system. You have a choice. You can account for it, or you can continue losing it unknowingly. That is the key. Step 3 is elimination. You must remove approval-seeking behaviors from your routine. Silence notifications. Limit social interactions that do not contribute to output. Reduce meetings that require consensus but produce little. Minimize reporting that validates rather than measures results. This is not optional. This is not negotiable. Your attention is finite. Validation consumes it silently. Remove it. That is the rule. Step 4 is replacement. Replace the energy spent seeking validation with systemized actions. Decide what must be done daily. Set measurable outputs. Track progress. Repeat actions consistently. Focus on production, not perception. Focus on results, not recognition. You don't change your life by seeking approval. You change your life by reinforcing productive behaviors. Repeat that. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 5 is mental conditioning. Your mind will resist. It will demand validation. It will remind you that recognition matters. It will create discomfort when you ignore approval. This is normal. This is expected. Train your mind. Reframe thought patterns. When the urge arises to seek validation, act immediately on the task instead. Replace worry with execution. Replace waiting with repetition. You don't need their permission. You only need your system. That is the discipline. Consider a professional in the corporate world. Every email is crafted for approval. Every presentation is designed to impress. Every meeting seeks consensus. Deadlines slip. Strategic opportunities are lost. Focus is fragmented. Compare this to the professional who acts independently, produces without waiting, delivers results, tests outcomes, iterates processes, builds a system. Momentum grows daily. Progress compounds silently. The difference is not talent. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is not charisma. It is discipline. Stop seeking validation. Start acting. That is the key. Step 6 is accountability to output, not opinion. Measure your work against results. Track completion, accuracy, improvement. Do not measure worth by feedback. Do not measure progress by recognition. Feedback is data. Output is proof. Systems produce output. Output compounds over time. You have a choice. You can chase approval or you can measure output. That is the key. Step 7 is routine reinforcement. Each day, allocate time to assess when validation interfered with action. Adjust your schedule. Remove triggers. Strengthen habits. Build repetition into your system. The mind resists change. The environment encourages proving. Each day you reinforce the opposite. Action over approval. You reclaim energy. You reclaim focus. You reclaim momentum. That is the key. Step 8 is identity alignment. You're not a worker because others recognize you. You're a worker because you act consistently. You're not a producer because others approve. You're a producer because you repeat productive behaviors. You're not disciplined because praise exists. You are disciplined because systems exist. Align your identity with doing, not proving. That is the principle. That is the rule. That is the system. Step 9 is compounding. When validation is removed, attention is reclaimed. Energy flows into production. Small actions repeated compound. Tasks completed build competence. Habits solidify. Systems strengthen. Momentum becomes inevitable. You don't change your life by seeking approval. You change your life by strengthening your systems. You change your life by repeating productive actions. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 10 is preparation. Prepare for resistance. Prepare for discomfort. Prepare for the urge to seek approval. It will appear. It is natural. Do not yield. Reinforce systems. Reinforce habits. Reinforce routines. Act consistently. Track output. Repeat. 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 Stop seeking validation. Start acting. Build silently. Improve steadily. This is how focus compounds. This is how results accumulate. This is how mastery forms. That is the discipline. That is the process. That is the key. Chapter 2 ends here. You now understand the hidden cost of validation. It is invisible, compounding, and destructive to focus. Every hour spent seeking approval steals from your productive system. You have seen how professionals lose opportunities and momentum because of it. You have a framework to reclaim that energy: recognition, measurement, elimination, replacement, mental conditioning, output accountability, routine reinforcement, identity alignment, compounding, and preparation. These 10 steps form the system to neutralize validation and reclaim focus. The next chapter will teach you how to convert small, consistent actions into massive results. You will learn why intensity fails and repetition succeeds. You will see how your habits, structured correctly, create leverage that outperforms effort alone. Stop seeking validation. Start building your system. Prepare for mastery. Chapter 3: Small Habits, Giant Results. Most people believe success requires grand gestures. They believe progress comes from intensity, long hours, extreme effort, big leaps. Rarely does it work. The brain does not react to bursts of intensity. The brain reacts to consistency, repetition, daily practice, small actions, repeated, compound over time. That is the principle. That is the system. That is the rule. You don't need huge effort to build mastery. You need consistent, small actions. 15 minutes a day compounds into skill. 1% improvement per day becomes exponential advantage. Writers who write every morning. Coders who code every evening. Athletes who train small movements repeatedly. They outperformed the motivated bursts of others. Motivation fades. Small habits do not. You have a choice. You can chase intensity or you can build a system. That is the key. Step 1 is selection. Choose the small habit that will compound. Do not overwhelm yourself. Focus on one action, one behavior, one skill. For writing, it may be 300 words daily. For coding, it may be 20 lines daily. 4 fitness, 15 minutes of focus practice. That is all. Start there. Small today, giant tomorrow. Repeat it aloud. Repeat it mentally. Repeat it daily. You don't change your life by attempting massive feats. You change your life by repeating small, productive actions consistently. That is the rule. Step 2 is systemization. Habits succeed when they are built into a system. Decide a trigger. Decide a time. Decide a context. Attach the habit to a cue. Every morning before breakfast, right? Every evening after dinner, code. Every day before training, warm up and practice skill drills. Make it automatic. Remove choice. Remove negotiation. Remove debate. You have a choice to automate or to struggle. That is the key. Step 3 is measurement. Small habits compound only when tracked. Track what you do. Track completion. Track improvement. Track consistency. One line not written is a step lost. One exercise skipped is a setback. Measurement turns repetition into feedback. Feedback turns repetition into progress. Without tracking, small habits vanish. With tracking, small habits become momentum. You have a choice. You can ignore measurement, or you can follow the system. That is the key. Step 4 is iteration. Small habits allow rapid adjustment. If a habit is not working, adjust the process, not the principle. 15 minutes a day is enough. If you write poorly, rewrite. If you code incorrectly, debug. If your form is wrong in training, correct it. You do not need perfection. You need repetition. You do not need intensity. You need consistency. Small today, giant tomorrow. That is the principle. Step 5 is reinforcement. Your mind will resist repetition. It will demand excitement. It will crave novelty. This is normal. It is expected. Do not indulge the urge. Reinforce the habit. Repeat the small action even when it feels insignificant. Every repetition strengthens neural pathways. Every repetition builds discipline. Every repetition compounds into mastery. You have a choice. Repeat or stall. That is the key. Consider the writer who produces 300 words per day. 15 minutes. No recognition. No applause. By the end of 1 year, 109,500 words exist. A book emerges. A body of work. Compare this to the writer who waits for inspiration. Produces sporadically. Motivation fades. Output is inconsistent. The first writer achieves mastery through small daily actions. The second remains in a cycle of intention without results. Small today, giant tomorrow. That is the rule. Step 6 is environment design. Habits succeed when supported. Remove distractions. Remove friction. Make repetition easy. Prepare writing tools the night before. Keep coding environment ready. Lay out training equipment. Reduce excuses. Systems work when the environment works with you. You have a choice. You can fight against your environment, or you can design it for success. That is the key. Step 7 is stacking. Small habits compound faster when stacked. Pair a habit with an existing routine. Write after morning coffee. Code after lunch. Stretch after workout. One habit triggers another. Momentum builds automatically. The brain reacts to chains of repetition. One action leads to the next. Build systems in sequence. Stack habits. Repeat. 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 That is the principle. Step 8 is identity alignment. Small habits shape identity. You are not a writer because you declare it. You are a writer because you write daily. You're not a coder because you aspire. You are a coder because you code every day. You are not an athlete because you intend. You are an athlete because you repeat physical practice consistently. Align your self-image with small actions. Identity follows repetition. That is the rule. Step 9 is patience. Small habits appear insignificant. They feel trivial. 15 minutes does not impress. It does not excite. It does not produce immediate recognition. That is deliberate. The system relies on accumulation, not spectacle. You must persist. You must repeat. You must trust the compounding principle. Small today, giant tomorrow. That is the process. Step 10 is commitment. Decide to repeat. Every day, without negotiation, without discussion, without exception. Track progress. Adjust process. Stack habits. Align identity. Trust compounding. Repeat small actions until mastery emerges. You don't change your life through motivation. You don't change your life through intensity. You don't change your life by waiting for inspiration. You change your life by repeating small, deliberate, productive actions consistently. You have a choice. That is the key. Chapter 3 ends here. You now understand why intensity fails and consistency succeeds. Small, deliberate actions, repeated daily, create compounding results. 15 minutes per day may seem trivial, but over time it produces mastery. You have learned the system. Selection, systemization, measurement, iteration, reinforcement, environment design, habit stacking, identity alignment, patience, and commitment. These steps form the foundation for building giant results from small actions. The next chapter will teach you how to control your mind, the factory of habits. You will learn how to identify destructive patterns, restructure automatic thoughts, and produce intentional actions that align with your goals. Small today, giant tomorrow. Prepare to master your mental systems. Chapter 4. Your mind is a habit factory. Control it. Your mind is a machine. Not metaphorically, literally. Thoughts are automated habits. Every decision, every reaction, every impulse is shaped by patterns that run beneath conscious awareness. Most people believe they are in control. They are not. Your thoughts dictate your actions. Your actions dictate your results. You have a choice. You can observe and guide your mind, or you can allow it to run on autopilot. That is the key. Step 1. Awareness. You cannot control what you do not observe. For 1 week, track your thoughts. Every morning, every hour, every evening. Note recurring themes. Note patterns. Note distractions. Identify mental loops that sabotage your productivity. Thoughts that induce procrastination. Thoughts that create doubt. Thoughts that seek approval. Record them. This is data. Data is actionable. Data allows systemization. Without awareness, you are blind. You have a choice. That is the rule. Step 2. Recognition. Understand that automated thoughts are habitual. They do not serve logic. They serve repetition. They are remnants of conditioning. You do not need to fight every thought. You do not need to eliminate every impulse. You need to recognize which loops produce destructive behaviors. Distraction, hesitation, anxiety, procrastination. These are all outputs of habit patterns. Recognition is the first step to redesign. That is the system. That is the principle. Step 3. Morning routines. Top performers design their minds before action. Reactive individuals allow stimuli to dictate their day. Notification chimes, emails, messages, urgent requests. If your morning is reactive, your entire day follows. You have no control. You are at the mercy of external inputs. Top performers schedule mental inputs deliberately. Meditation, reading, journaling, planning, silence, reflection. This is not optional. It is structural. Your mind cannot function optimally when it starts in chaos. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 4. Thought inspection. Review your daily notes from Step 1. Identify sabotage loops. These are thoughts that trigger unproductive behaviors. For example, I am too busy to focus leads to distraction. I need approval before acting leads to delay. I'll start tomorrow leads to inaction. These loops are predictable. They are habitual. You could design interventions. You can restructure responses. You don't change your life by controlling external events. You change your life by controlling internal processes. That is the rule. Step 5. Intervention. For each destructive thought loop, design a replacement. Example, replace, I am too busy to focus with a system. Block 60 minutes daily for deep work, no interruptions. Replace, I need approval before acting with a system. Take immediate action on one task before seeking input. Replace, I'll start tomorrow with a system. Schedule micro-action within 30 minutes. Every destructive thought has a productive countermeasure. These are not suggestions. They are structural replacements. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 6. Reinforcement. Thought habits are like neural pathways. They strengthen with repetition. Each time you intercept a destructive loop and replace it with a productive action, you reinforce the system. Each time you allow a destructive thought to dominate, you strengthen sabotage. Repetition determines outcome. Habit loops are neutral. You determine which loops survive. That is the principle. That is the discipline. Small interventions today. Mastery tomorrow. You have a choice. That is the rule. Step 7. Environment alignment. Your mind reacts to cues. Visual, auditory, social. If your environment reinforces destructive thought patterns, control it. Reduce noise. Silence notifications. Remove clutter. Adjust schedules. Surround yourself with signals that trigger productive thought loops. Your environment can sabotage or support. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 8. Micro-reflection. At the end of each day, review your thoughts and actions. Identify moments when destructive loops appeared. Identify moments when productive interventions succeeded. Note progress. Adjust systems. Without reflection, you cannot reinforce habits. Without reinforcement, patterns default to chaos. You do not need approval. You do not need motivation. You need inspection, intervention, and repetition. That is the process. That is the system. Consider two professionals. One wakes up and immediately checks messages, reacts to stimuli, starts the day fragmented, distracted, delayed. By noon, focus is lost. Opportunities are missed. Energy is drained. The other wakes up and follows a deliberate routine. 10 minutes meditation, 15 minutes reading, 5 minutes planning. Thoughts are guided. Attention is directed. Momentum builds. By noon, the first is exhausted. The second is productive. The difference is not talent. The difference is intelligence. The difference is motivation. It is discipline. It is system. It is repeated thought management. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 9. Automation. Once productive thought interventions are practiced consistently, they become automatic. You no longer need conscious effort to intercept destructive loops. The system runs on repetition. Your mind produces productive responses naturally. This is mastery. This is control. You don't change your life by hoping for clarity. You change your life by creating repeatable mental systems. Repeat, repeat, repeat. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 10. Commitment. Habits of thought require patience. Your mind resists. It craves distraction. It resists structure. It prefers chaos. You must commit to the system. Track thoughts. Identify sabotage loops. Replace. Reinforce. Reflect. Adjust. And repeat. Daily. Consistently. Without negotiation. Without exception. Each day compounds advantage. Each repetition strengthens control. Each week builds mastery. You have a choice. That is the key. Chapter 4 ends here. You now understand that your mind is a habit factory. Without oversight, it controls your decisions. You have learned to track thoughts, identify sabotage loops, design interventions, and reinforce productive thinking. You have seen the difference between reactive mornings and deliberate mental routines. You have a system to reclaim attention, focus, and energy. The next chapter will teach you why discipline always beats motivation. You will learn how to structure your days so that consistent action is inevitable, not optional. You will see how to eliminate reliance on willpower and create systems that enforce behavior automatically. Master your mind. Prepare to master your actions. Small, deliberate, repeated steps create control. You have a choice. That is the key. Chapter 5. Discipline beats motivation every time. Motivation is unreliable. It fluctuates. It comes and goes. Some days it exists. Some days it does not. If you rely on motivation, you will fail. You have a choice. You can wait for feelings to guide you, or you can create systems that produce results regardless of feelings. That is the key. Discipline produces predictable results. Discipline does not depend on emotion. It does not depend on mood. It does not depend on external approval. It functions whether you feel like it or not. That is the difference. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Repeat it aloud. Repeat it daily. Let's shape your approach. Step 1. Define your core actions. Identify the essential behaviors that produce results in your life. Study habits, work output, exercise, skill development, writing, coding, practice. These are non-negotiable actions, not goals, not intentions, actions. The foundation of discipline is consistency in essential tasks. You have a choice. You can chase inspiration, or you can perform the necessary actions daily. That is the key. Step 2. Schedule rigorously. Discipline requires structure. Motivation does not. Motivation is chaotic. Structure eliminates dependence on mood. Assign fixed times for essential actions. Every day, same time, no exceptions. If you exercise at 6 a.m., you exercise at 6 a.m. regardless of how you feel. If you write at 8 a.m., you write at 8 a.m. without delay. The schedule enforces discipline. You don't need motivation. You need repetition. That is the rule. Step 3. Reduce friction. Make discipline easier than avoidance. Prepare the environment. Lay out equipment. Open documents. Clear distractions. Remove obstacles. The brain resists initiation. Make the first step automatic. When starting is simple, discipline activates naturally. Motivation is unnecessary. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 4. Measure consistency. Track actions, not outcomes. Discipline is demonstrated by repetition, not immediate results. Elite performers follow systems daily. Nobel laureates do not wait for inspiration to study. Athletes train regardless of fatigue or mood. Each action completed reinforces skill. Each missed action weakens habit. Track what you do. Track repetition. Measure commitment. Discipline is visible in the record of consistent action, not fleeting feelings. That is the rule. Step 5. Create unbreakable routines. Habits are the backbone of discipline. Attach actions to triggers. Build microsystems. Wake, write, exercise, practice, reflect, repeat. Automate the sequence. Remove decision fatigue. When actions are habitual, they persist. Motivation becomes irrelevant. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 6. Reinforce identity. You're not disciplined because you intend to be. You are disciplined because you perform consistent actions. You are not productive because you feel motivated. You are productive because your systems enforce repetition. Your identity aligns with your actions, not your moods. Each repetition strengthens identity. Each missed repetition weakens it. Choose action. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Discipline is reinforced. Motivation is irrelevant. That is the rule. Step 7. Anticipate resistance. Discipline meets friction. The brain will resist effort. Emotions will seek comfort. Motivation will fluctuate. You must persist. Do not negotiate. Do not rationalize. Do not wait. Act. Discipline functions in spite of resistance. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Repeat the phrase. Repeat the actions. That is the key. Step 8. Leverage compounding. Each daily repetition compounds skill, habit, and confidence. 1 hour per day becomes 365 hours per year. 15 minutes per day becomes mastery in months. The system scales. Discipline compounds. Motivation cannot replicate compounding. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Repetition is leverage. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 9. Accountability to systems, not feelings. Motivation is subjective. Discipline is objective. Track actions, not moods. Reward completion, not desire. Adjust systems based on consistency, not emotion. Build routines that enforce behaviors automatically. Remove reliance on willpower. Remove dependence on inspiration. Build structural reinforcement. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. That is the system. That is the rule. Step 10. Reflection and refinement. At the end of each week, review actions. Identify gaps. Adjust systems. Strengthen routines. Reinforce triggers. Remove friction. Maintain measurement. Discipline is not static. It requires refinement to remain effective. Motivation will never guide this process reliably. Discipline persists through adjustment. Repeat, repeat, repeat. That is the key. Consider the athlete who trains daily. Some mornings, fatigue dominates. Some days, soreness is present. Motivation is absent. Yet they train. They repeat actions. Skill accumulates. Strength increases. Performance improves. Compare this to the aspiring athlete who waits for inspiration. Training is sporadic. Results stagnate. The difference is not talent. The difference is not potential. The difference is discipline. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. You have a choice. That is the rule. Discipline is predictable. Motivation is not. Systems enforce actions. Systems produce results. Habits enforce behavior. Habits accumulate skill. Small, repeated actions generate momentum. The compounding principle works in your favor only when actions are consistent. Motivation cannot ensure consistency. Only discipline can. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. Repeat it. Build systems that cannot be broken. Repeat actions that do not depend on mood. That is the principle. Chapter 5 ends here. You now understand that relying on motivation is futile. Discipline produces predictable, compounding results. You have learned the system. Define core actions, schedule rigorously, reduce friction, measure consistency, create unbreakable routines, reinforce identity, anticipate resistance, leverage compounding, enforce accountability, and refine constantly. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. You have a choice. That is the key. The next chapter will teach you how silence and mental stillness create clarity and sharpen focus. You will learn a system to structure deliberate quiet and reflection to strengthen decision-making and attention. Discipline creates action. Silence creates clarity. Prepare to integrate both. Chapter 6. Silence is the shortcut to clarity. The brain cannot focus amidst constant noise. Not external noise alone. Internal noise counts more. Thoughts racing. Notifications pinging. Obligations clamoring. Mental clutter builds. Attention fragments. Decisions weaken. Productivity diminishes. You have a choice. You can allow noise to control your day, or you can create silence. That is the key. Step 1. Recognize the cost of noise. Most people underestimate it. Noise does not only distract, it rewires the brain. It conditions the mind to chase stimuli rather than focus. Multitasking appears efficient but is costly. Internal chatter masquerades as thinking but produces little. Every moment spent in noise steals mental energy. Every fragmented thought diminishes output. You have a choice. That is the rule. Step 2. Prioritize intentional silence. Silence is not absence of thought. Silence is control of attention. Silence is structured reflection. It trains the mind to focus. It trains the brain to resist distraction. It trains the mind to observe before reacting. Start small. 10 minutes daily. 20 minutes if possible. Sit without devices. Do not multitask. Do not check notifications. Focus on your own awareness. That is the system. Step 3. Structure your silence. Create a routine. Silence works only when habitual. Morning is optimal. Before email. Before social media. Before work begins. Begin with 10 to 20 minutes. Gradually increase duration as comfort grows. Choose a consistent location. Minimize interruptions. No exceptions. Habitual silence builds mental muscle. Motivation is irrelevant. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 4. Employ a mental anchor. Focus attention during silence. Breath, counting, observation, reflection on priorities, awareness of thoughts without judgment. Train the mind to notice distractions and return to the anchor. This is discipline. This is attention training. Repetition strengthens neural pathways. Each session compounds focus over time. Silence is not passive. Silence is active. That is the principle. Step 5. Integrate reflection. Use silence to evaluate priorities. Identify critical tasks. Separate what matters from what is urgent but trivial. Develop clarity before action. Many rush into work without reflection. Noise dictates their schedule. Urgency displaces strategy. Silence allows alignment with values and goals. Small, deliberate reflection produces large strategic advantage. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 6. Reduce environmental noise. Silence is fragile in a chaotic environment. Notifications, emails, devices, and background distractions sabotage clarity. Structure surroundings. Mute notifications. Close tabs. Clear clutter. Signal to others when silent periods are in progress. Silence requires protection. Treat it as a non-negotiable resource. You don't need permission. You need discipline. That is the rule. Step 7. Observe mental patterns. During silent periods, track thoughts. Identify recurring loops. Identify internal distractions. Identify habitual reactions to stimuli. For 1 week, record mental observations. This is data. Data allows systemization. Data allows adjustment. Silence without awareness is incomplete. Silence with reflection produces mastery. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 8. Apply lessons immediately. Insights gained in silence must translate to action. Identify the most critical daily priorities. Allocate attention deliberately. Execute intentionally. Do not return to distraction without a system. Silence trains focus. Execution enforces it. Repetition strengthens clarity. Small, consistent application compounds advantage. Silence alone is insufficient without structured action. That is the principle. Step 9. Model the discipline. Tim Ferriss meditates daily to condition focus. Warren Buffett reads and reflects to prioritize decisions. Elite performers do not rely on willpower. They structure attention. They create routines that enforce mental clarity. Observe patterns. Replicate structure. Apply consistently. Silence is a tool. Routine is the system. Compounding occurs only through repetition. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 10. Reinforce the habit. Every day, commit to silence. Morning sessions. Midday breaks if possible. End of day, reflection. Protect the practice. Track consistency. Identify lapses. Adjust environment. Adjust anchor. Adjust duration. Repetition builds mastery. Silence compounds focus. Noise diminishes it. Motivation fades. Discipline persists. You have a choice. That is the key. Consider two executives. One reacts constantly to emails, messages, and meetings. Decisions are rushed. Priorities blurred. Stress increases. Attention fragments. The other begins each day with silent reflection. Priorities are clear. Attention is focused. Decisions are deliberate. Work flows with precision. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is not external resources. It is structured attention. It is discipline applied through silence. That is the rule. Silence is not passive. Silence is not idleness. Silence is active preparation. It is mental conditioning. It strengthens the mind's ability to resist distraction. It reinforces attention. It allows the brain to operate at maximum capacity. Every minute of structured silence builds mental muscle. Every unstructured minute of noise weakens it. You have a choice. That is the principle. Chapter 6 ends here. You now understand the importance of structured silence. You have learned to recognize the cost of noise, structure intentional quiet, employ anchors, reflect on priorities, reduce environmental distractions, observe thought patterns, and translate insights into action. You have a system to reclaim attention, sharpen focus, and build clarity. The next chapter will teach why systems are more effective than goals. You will learn how to design repeatable structures that enforce action automatically. Discipline ensures execution. Systems ensure consistency. Silence ensures clarity. Combine all three for compounding results. Prepare to design your system. You have a choice. That is the key. Chapter 7. The system is your new goal. Most people chase goals. Promotions, income targets, recognition, achievements. They believe success comes from reaching milestones. They measure worth by outcomes. This is a mistake. Goals are fleeting, temporary, external, motivation-driven. Momentum stops when a goal is reached. Friction returns. Systems are different. Systems produce continuous action. Systems compound. Systems create predictable outcomes. You have a choice. Build the system. Forget the goal. That is the key. Step 1. Define your system. A system is a repeatable process. It produces results automatically. Goals are outcomes. Systems are processes. Focus on behavior, not destination. For a writer, the system is 300 words daily. For a coder, the system is 20 lines of code daily. For fitness, the system is 30 minutes of practice every day. Do not obsess over the final product. Obsess over the process. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 2. Break it into small actions. Systems succeed when atomic. One action triggers the next. Repetition compounds. Measurement is simple. Tracking is straightforward. If your system is too large or abstract, it fails. Identify the smallest possible unit of progress. Track it, repeat it, improve it. Success compounds through small, consistent steps. Goals fade. Systems persist. That is the rule. Step 3. Automate triggers. Habits form when actions are triggered consistently. Connect the system to a cue. Morning coffee triggers writing. End of lunch triggers coding. Pre-workout triggers stretching. Remove choice. Remove negotiation. Action occurs automatically. The brain accepts patterns. Consistency enforces repetition. Motivation is unnecessary. Build the system. Forget the goal. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 4. Measure actions, not outcomes. Goals measure results. Systems measure behavior. Focus on completion. Track repetition. Track consistency. Each completed action reinforces progress. Each missed action is data for improvement. Feedback informs adjustment. Without measurement, systems fail. Without repetition, systems collapse. Action over aspiration. Process over target. Build the system. Forget the goal. That is the rule. Step 5. Reinforce identity. Systems define who you are. You are a writer because you write daily, not because you publish a book. You are a coder because you code daily, not because you launch an app. You are fit because you train consistently, not because you reach a specific body weight. Align identity with systems. Identity is internal. Goals are external. Systems compound character. Goals fade. Build the system. Forget the goal. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 6. Iterate and adjust. Systems are not static. Observe performance. Adjust inputs. Refine processes. Eliminate friction. Reinforce triggers. Optimize environment. Incremental improvement ensures long-term progress. Goals cannot adapt. They are fixed. Systems evolve. Small adjustments today yield compounding advantage tomorrow. Build the system. Forget the goal. Repeat, repeat, repeat. That is the rule. Step 7. Eliminate reliance on motivation. Motivation is temporary. Goals rely on motivation. Systems enforce action regardless of feeling. Habit formation converts effort into automatic behavior. Repeat daily. Track performance. Remove exceptions. Momentum builds without willpower. Motivation fades. Systems persist. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 8. Integrate compounding. Each repetition compounds skill, efficiency, and output. The system amplifies progress. One action triggers another. Small wins accumulate. Habits strengthen. Competence increases. Confidence grows. Compare this to chasing a goal alone. Completion arrives, then effort diminishes. Systems continue. Compounding advantage belongs to those who build structure, not desire. Build the system. Forget the goal. That is the principle. Step 9. Stack systems. Systems are more powerful when linked. Writing triggers research. Research triggers coding. Coding triggers reflection. Sequence actions logically. Momentum compounds automatically. The brain follows structure. Systems enforce productive flow. Motivation is unnecessary. Goals are optional. Build the system. Forget the goal. You have a choice. That is the rule. Step 10. Commit to repetition. Systems succeed only through repeated execution. Daily, without exception. Track each step. Adjust as necessary. Reinforce triggers. Measure behavior. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Goals will shift. Life will demand adaptation. Systems persist. Discipline compounds. Build the system. Forget the goal. You have a choice. That is the key. Consider the example of James Clear in Atomic Habits. He teaches that outcomes fade. Goals are fragile. Systems, however, compound. Writing consistently. Tracking actions. Adjusting processes. This creates results that persist far beyond any single goal. Motivation is irrelevant. Achievement is secondary. Process dominates. Momentum accumulates. That is the principle. Chapter 7 ends here. You now understand why systems outperform goals. Goals are temporary. Motivation fades. Systems persist. You have learned to define atomic actions, automate triggers, measure repetition, reinforce identity, iterate processes, eliminate reliance on motivation, integrate compounding, stack systems, and commit to repetition. Build the system. Forget the goal. You have a choice. That is the key. The next chapter will teach how invisible distractions drain attention and energy. You will learn a method to identify and eliminate time thieves. Systems enforce action. Silence creates clarity. Focus ensures results. Prepare to reclaim your attention. You have a choice. That is the key. Chapter 8. Eliminate the invisible time thieves. Distractions are everywhere. Not loud. Not obvious. They're subtle. Notifications ping. Tabs remain open. Meetings appear unplanned. Messages interrupt. Emails demand instant response. These are invisible time thieves. They steal focus silently. They fragment attention. They reduce productivity without notice. Studies on multitasking show a 40% drop in output when attention is divided. You have a choice. You can allow distractions to dominate your day, or you can eliminate them. That is the key. Step 1. Awareness. Begin with observation. Track distractions for 1 week. Note every interruption. Note every lost focus moment. Identify recurring patterns. Notifications. Social media. Passive browsing. Internal thoughts. Each counts as a thief. Recording these is not optional. Awareness precedes action. Without identification, elimination is impossible. You have a choice. That is the rule. Step 2. Prioritize elimination. Not all distractions are equal. Identify the thief that steals the most attention daily. One at a time. Start small. Focused elimination is more effective than broad attempts. Close the most frequent tab. Silence the loudest notification. Cancel unnecessary meetings. Each removed thief compounds focus. Each step reinforces discipline. Build momentum. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 3. Implement a daily focus audit. Every morning or evening, inspect your environment. Ask, what will steal my attention today? Adjust proactively. Close tabs. Silence devices. Schedule time blocks. Remove clutter. Control the environment before action begins. The brain will always seek shortcuts. Preempt them with structured oversight. Motivation is irrelevant. Systems enforce attention. Build this audit daily. That is the system. Step 4. Create physical and digital boundaries. Notifications are toxic. Open tabs are silent thieves. Messages demand instant response. Remove temptation. Turn off unnecessary alerts. Limit social media. Use website blockers when needed. Set meeting windows. Batch communication. Protect deep work. The environment must support focus. Without it, attention fragments. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 5. Time block critical tasks. Assign focus periods for deep work. No interruptions. No multitasking. One task at a time. Attention is finite. Divide it, and productivity falls. Schedule high-value tasks in your peak mental energy periods. Guard these blocks with discipline. The invisible thieves cannot steal what is protected. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Build a system that enforces single tasking. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 6. Train attention deliberately. Focus is a skill. Like a muscle, it strengthens with exercise. Begin with 15 to 20-minute intervals. Remove external and internal distractions. Observe the mind. When it wanders, return to the task. Each session reinforces neural pathways for concentration. Each repetition compounds mental endurance. Motivation will fluctuate. Discipline and practice enforce results. Focus is built, not wished for. You have a choice. That is the rule. Step 7. Limit reactive behavior. Most distractions are reactive. An email, a message, a ping. Delay response. Batch communication. Process notifications at set times. Prevent small interruptions from dictating the day. The reactive mind fragments attention. The disciplined mind enforces systems. Each delayed reaction strengthens control. Each uncontrolled reaction compounds distraction. Build routines that enforce focus. Motivation fades. Systems persist. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 8. External accountability. Inform colleagues, family, or team members about focus periods. Set expectations. Communicate boundaries. Reduce friction from interruptions. Accountability enforces attention. Distraction is easier when others assume availability. Structure your environment socially as well as physically. Focus compounds when systems are supported externally. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 9. Monitor and adjust. At the end of each day, review your focus audit. Identify one thief that was not removed. Eliminate it the next day. Repeat daily. Continuous improvement compounds results. Each eliminated distraction reinforces the system. Each day, without adjustment, allows time thieves to persist. Track progress. Repeat, repeat, repeat. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 10. Identity alignment. You are a focused individual because you protect your attention, not because you intend to, not because you hope to. You are focused because you remove distractions consistently. You do not allow invisible time thieves to dictate your performance. Identity follows repeated behavior. Focus is reinforced daily. Each eliminated distraction compounds clarity. Systems ensure consistency. Motivation is irrelevant. You have a choice. That is the principle. Consider two professionals. One reacts to every notification, multitasks constantly, and allows open tabs and meetings to dictate the schedule. Productivity drops. Deadlines are missed. Energy drains. Opportunities slip. The other conducts a daily focus audit, removes one distraction per day, implements time blocks, guards attention. Progress accumulates. Momentum builds. Output is consistent. The difference is not talent, is not resources, is the system. Distraction is eliminated. Focus is enforced. That is the rule. Chapter 8 ends here. You now understand how invisible time thieves reduce output and fragment attention. You have learned to recognize distractions, prioritize elimination, implement a daily focus audit, create boundaries, time block tasks, train attention, limit reactive behavior, enforce external accountability, monitor progress, and align identity with focus. Each step reinforces the system. Motivation is irrelevant. Systems enforce results. Focus compounds. You have a choice. That is the key. The next chapter will teach how to turn daily actions into measurable progress that compounds over time. You will learn how to track behaviors, reinforce productive habits, and convert small steps into massive long-term results. Protect focus. Enforce systems. Prepare to scale impact. You have a choice. That is the key. Chapter 9. Focus is a muscle. Train it daily. Focus is a muscle, not metaphorically, literally. Attention weakens without exercise. The brain deteriorates when constantly distracted. Scattered thoughts, multitasking, notifications, internal chatter. Each fragment erodes cognitive capacity. You have a choice. You can allow attention to degrade, or you can train it. That is the key. Step 1. Recognize focus as a skill. Focus is not talent. It is not luck. It is not motivation. Focus is a learned capability. Like a muscle, it strengthens with repetition. Like a muscle, it atrophies without use. You do not need permission to train it. You only need commitment to practice. Motivation fades. Discipline strengthens. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 2. Establish deliberate focus sessions. Allocate 20 to 60 minutes daily. No interruptions. No multitasking. Remove notifications. Close unnecessary tabs. Silence devices. Sit in a controlled environment. Choose the task that matters most. This is deep work. This is attention training. Each session reinforces the neural pathways that govern concentration. Small today, giant tomorrow. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. That is the system. Step 3. Use structured methods. Techniques enforce discipline. The Pomodoro method. 25 minutes focused, 5 minutes break. Deep work blocks. Continuous 45 to 60-minute sessions with single task focus. Scheduled reading periods. Mental calibration exercises. Structure ensures consistency. Random focus leads to fragmentation. Systems compound attention. Motivation is irrelevant. You have a choice. That is the rule. Step 4. Progressively increase intensity. Start with shorter sessions. Build gradually. Track performance. Increase duration or difficulty as capacity grows. The mind adapts. Neural pathways strengthen. Distractions become easier to resist. Focus endures longer. Training is cumulative. 1 hour today builds 2 hours tomorrow. Small increments compound mastery. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 5. Remove environmental distractions. Focus is fragile. Open tabs. Noise. Messages. Clutter. They steal attention silently. Create a controlled space. Minimal stimulus. Physical and digital. Treat the environment as part of the system. Every session conducted in a prepared space reinforces the habit. Attention strengthens in a protected context. Motivation fades. Systems enforce results. You have a choice. That is the rule. Step 6. Integrate recovery periods. Muscles fatigue. The brain fatigues. Rest is part of training. Schedule breaks between focus blocks. Walk. Meditate. Reflect. Sleep adequately. Recovery consolidates neural pathways. Focus becomes sustainable. Overtraining diminishes effectiveness. Discipline includes rest. Attention compounds through structured exercise and recovery. Small today, giant tomorrow. That is the principle. Step 7. Track performance. Every focus session should be recorded. Duration, quality, task completed, resistance overcome. Data converts repetition into feedback. Feedback converts repetition into improvement. Without measurement, training is blind. With tracking, every session compounds skill. Systems outperform motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline strengthens. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 8. Apply focus to high-value tasks. Practice alone does not produce results. Direct attention where it matters. Prioritize critical work. Apply deep concentration to tasks that move outcomes forward. Avoid shallow tasks during focus sessions. Attention is finite. Misallocation weakens results. Systems enforce proper targeting. Motivation fades. Discipline executes. That is the rule. Step 9. Build micro-habits around focus. Habits support muscle growth. Begin each day with a short focus drill. Read for 15 minutes. Write 200 words. Code a small module. Reflect in silence. Each repetition reinforces capacity. Stack these micro-habits. Combine with larger focus blocks. Momentum compounds. Focus becomes automatic. Small today, giant tomorrow. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 10. Reinforce identity. You are a focused individual because you train attention daily. Not because you intend to. Not because you hope to. Identity follows repeated action. Habits define capability. Discipline produces focus. Motivation is unreliable. Systems create consistency. You have a choice. That is the key. Consider a professional using deep work blocks daily. 1 hour, focused, uninterrupted. After 1 month, tasks complete faster. Creativity emerges. Decisions sharpen. Stress diminishes. Compare to a professional reacting to every notification, multitasking constantly. Work is fragmented. Deadlines slip. Energy drains. The difference is not talent. The difference is not resources. The difference is discipline. Focus is trained. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. You have a choice. That is the principle. Chapter 9 ends here. You now understand that attention must be exercised deliberately. You have learned to establish focus sessions, use structured techniques, increase intensity gradually, remove distractions, integrate recovery, track performance, prioritize high-value tasks, build micro-habits, and reinforce identity. Focus is a muscle. Daily training strengthens it. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. You have a choice. That is the key. The next chapter will teach you how to sustain energy, attention, and consistency over months and years. You will learn methods to avoid burnout, maintain momentum, and compound results indefinitely. Train focus. Enforce systems. Prepare to scale persistence. You have a choice. That is the key. Chapter 10. Your life runs on repetition, not inspiration. Inspiration is fleeting. A spark. Brief. Unreliable. It excites momentarily, but does not last. Motivation rises and falls. Desire waxes and wanes. This is normal. This is predictable. Waiting for inspiration to act is waiting for chance. You have a choice. You can chase feeling, or you can rely on repetition. That is the key. Step 1. Recognize the power of repetition. Repetition compounds. Each repeated action strengthens neural pathways, reinforces discipline, and builds capability. Small actions, repeated daily, become habits. Habits become routines. Routines produce results. Results compound over time. Inspiration may ignite the first action. Repetition sustains the next 1,000. Repetition beats inspiration. Systems beat motivation. Action beats waiting. Repeat it. Repeat it. Repeat it. That is the principle. Step 2. Design microactions. Daily small tasks accumulate into massive progress. Writing 300 words. Reading 15 pages. Practicing 20 minutes. Coding 1 module. Training 1 skill. These are not overwhelming. They are repeatable. They are measurable. Each microaction compounds with every repetition. Systems enforce completion. Motivation is unnecessary. Action compounds. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 3. Schedule daily routines. Routines transform repetition into structure. Morning rituals. Focus blocks. Silent sessions. Exercise. Journaling. Reflection. Each repeated sequence trains the mind to act automatically. When habits are repeated daily, output becomes predictable. Inspiration is irrelevant. You do not rely on motivation. The system produces results. Repetition beats inspiration. Systems beat motivation. Action beats waiting. That is the rule. Step 4. Track and measure. Repetition without measurement is blind. Each daily task should be recorded. Completion noted. Progress tracked. Behavior reinforced. Missed actions identified. Adjusted. Consistency builds momentum. Systems convert repeated behavior into compounding skill. Motivation cannot substitute for repetition. Action is measurable. Momentum compounds. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 5. Reinforce identity. You are not productive because you feel inspired. You are productive because you repeat small actions consistently. You are not a writer because you intend to write. You are a writer because you write daily. You are not an athlete because you hope to train. You are an athlete because you train daily. Repetition defines identity. Motivation does not. Systems enforce behavior. Action creates character. Repeat, repeat, repeat. That is the rule. Step 6. Anticipate friction. Repetition meets resistance. Days will feel long. Energy will fluctuate. Motivation may vanish. That is expected. The system continues regardless. Small daily actions, repeated without exception, produce compounding results. Discipline strengthens. Habits solidify. Momentum grows. Inspiration is optional. Repetition is mandatory. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 7. Compound over time. The difference between average and exceptional outcomes is not genius. It is repeated execution, daily practice, incremental improvement. Legendary creators, CEOs, and athletes attribute success to consistent routines, not flashes of inspiration, not rare bursts of motivation. They commit to repetition. Repetition compounds results. Repetition becomes unstoppable. Systems enforce it. Motivation is irrelevant. Action dominates. You have a choice. That is the principle. Step 8. Integrate learning into practice. Repetition is most effective when paired with reflection. Each task performed, each skill practiced, each habit repeated should be examined briefly. Adjustments applied. Efficiency improved. Minor refinements compound. Every repetition becomes smarter. Every action compounds both skill and strategy. Inspiration cannot teach this. Only repeated practice achieves mastery. Build the system. Repeat it. Repeat it. Repeat it. That is the rule. Step 9. Embrace small wins. Small daily victories accumulate. They compound silently. One productive habit reinforced daily produces measurable advantage in weeks. One micro-action performed consistently produces massive progress over months. Results follow action, not inspiration. Repetition becomes your baseline. Systems enforce your trajectory. Action beats waiting. Motivation fades. Discipline stays. You have a choice. That is the key. Step 10. Internalize the principle. Your life runs on repetition, not inspiration. Systems enforce action. Habits compound. Momentum grows. Motivation is fleeting. Waiting is optional. You are defined by what you repeat, not what you dream. Apply this immediately. Identify one micro-action today. Repeat it tomorrow. Track it. Reinforce it. Build momentum. Systems will carry you forward. Action compounds advantage. Small today, giant tomorrow. That is the principle. Consider the creators who produce daily. The CEOs who schedule routines without reliance on feeling. The athletes who train every morning regardless of mood. Their progress is not random. It is engineered. It is reinforced by repetition. It is predictable. Inspiration is optional. Systems and action are mandatory. Repeat, repeat, repeat. You have a choice. That is the rule. Chapter 10 ends here. You now understand the ultimate principle. Repetition beats inspiration. Systems beat motivation. Action beats waiting. You have learned to design micro-actions, schedule routines, track progress, reinforce identity, anticipate friction, compound over time, integrate learning, embrace small wins, and internalize repetition as the driver of success. Apply this daily. Build the system. Repeat it. Momentum will compound. You have a choice. That is the key. If you found this audiobook valuable, subscribe to the channel. Daily content reinforces the systems, repetition, and insights that build mastery. Don't wait for inspiration. Apply what you learned. Take action. Repeat. Subscribe now to continue your journey. You have a choice. That is the key.